I don't think that most people would have thought this to be the case. You think Kevin Durant has been efficient so far and James Harden is not, right? Through 2 games, Stan Van Gundy, both players have scored the same number of points on the same number of shots. Did that statistic jump out at you?
It did, and I think what happens is we see Harden missing more shots, but he's shooting more threes than Durant. We've talked about Durant shooting the mid-range, and so the fact that Harden's shooting threes makes up for it, and his efficiency has been just as good.
It was a sneaky hembo at our morning meeting when those numbers came out. But I tell you, the thing about it is it's not just how the shots are being taken. The amount of dribbles that it takes for Harden to get to those shots versus Kevin Durant. Durant doesn't use a lot of dribbles. He rips through, he jabs, he steps back. So you don't look at the shot necessarily in the same way that we do in James Harden, where he's out there dribbling, everybody's standing and is stagnant at the offensive end of the floor, like we saw in Game 2 for the Rockets.
But that's Houston Rockets basketball. Right. It's the way they've played all year, and this happens in the playoffs all the time. Now when it doesn't go well, people want to criticize the way they played. All year we were celebrating James Harden and the Houston Rockets. This is how they play basketball.
So look, if Harden really is healthy and he's able to do this, is this the Rockets' last best chance?
No, I don't think so. I think if you look to the future, the chances are they come back with pretty much their core intact. It's Golden State that's probably more, down to their last best chance to get this three-peat in the whole thing, because their team could break up this summer.
Here's the thing about the Warriors. Because people will say to themselves, they've got such a great situation. You see James Harden, and to your point, he has to work so hard to get almost anything done. People will look at the Warriors and say, it's the ideal situation for all of these guys. Why would they break it up? And the answer to that, to me, is why did the Beatles break up? Why did the Bulls in the 90s break up? Why did Shaq and Kobe break up? Because at some point when you put all these people together, each of whom deserves to be the best one in anything they are doing, it just has a shelf life. And you brought it up yesterday when we talked about Kyrie and Kevin Durant playing together.
Yeah, look, people will only sacrifice their egos for so long. Think about this from Kevin Durant's perspective, right? We have talked, a lot of us, of Kevin Durant is the most unstoppable guy in basketball. But when the MVP discussion comes up for this year, it is all James Harden or Giannis. His name never comes up because he's surrounded by such great talent. So I think there is a little bit probably in Kevin Durant that's saying, let me go somewhere else and prove to people what I can do leading a team.
Okay, but with that same thing, you talk about your ego, right? Legacy can sometimes trump the here and now. And when you talk about legacy in the NBA, we talk about rings and we talk about championships. While the conversation might be about James Harden now, if Durant stayed in Golden State, and if Steph and Clay stay as well, and they could run off 4 more championships, and all of a sudden Kevin Durant ends up with 7 or 8 rings when his career is over, regardless of how many MVPs, we all know how talented he is. We see how talented. So maybe individual awards, no. But team awards would then surpass some of those individual talents, because at the end of the day, we might not be talking about James Harden if he wins 7 NBA titles.
But it'll always be one behind Steph Curry.
That's right.
And the legacy will still, people will always talk about it. They won before he got there. Now, that's not fair. I don't think it detracts from Kevin Durant at all. But he hears that talk, okay, and wants to combat that. And the guy he can't surpass if he stays there is Steph Curry.
And I think it's also worth pointing out in this conversation, I think the championship that LeBron won in Cleveland is worth more than both the championships that he won in Miami for that reason, as far as his legacy is concerned.
Yes, because in Miami, Dwayne Wade had won one before he got there, and he had won one as the dominant player, maybe the best finals series we've ever seen, okay, Dwayne Wade in 2006. And so LeBron moving to Cleveland, I totally agree with you in winning it there.